Hello everyone, it's me Uncle John. Today I am going to read S3 3192 Around the World in 80 Days, Part B, Chapter 4. Later, Passepartout wakes up. He goes onto the Connecticut and the ship leaves, but Fogg and Mrs. Auda aren't with him. Next morning, Fogg and Mrs. Auda go to get on the Connecticut, but it isn't there. Fix arrives. The Connecticut's on its way to Japan, he says, and the next ship to Yokohama leaves next week. Where is Passepartout? Asks Mrs. Auda. I don't know, says Fogg, but we must go on without him. We must find another ship. Fogg finds a small ship, the tanker to go to Shanghai. There they can get a big ship to Yokohama. Can I go with you? Asks Fix. Of course, Fogg answered. The tanker travels through storms and at last arrives near Shanghai. Suddenly, there is a big ship in front of them. It's on the way to Yokohama. Signal to that ship, says Fogg. Passepartout arrives in Yokohama, but he has no money. He leaves the Connecticut and finds work in Mrs. the Betterker's circus. I can go to America with the circus, he thinks. Fogg, Mrs. Auda, and Fix get on the big ship, and a week later they arrive in Japan. The Connecticut is in Yokohama. Fogg and Mrs. Auda go into the Connecticut. They find Passepartout's name in the book of passengers' name, but they can't find Passepartout. The ship leaves for San Francisco in a few hours. Before they leave, Fogg goes to the circus. Passepartout sees him there. Mr. Fogg, he says happily. Fogg wants to take Passepartout with him, but first he must pay Mr. Betterker. At 6 o'clock in the evening, Fogg, Passepartout, and Mrs. Auda go on to the American ship. Fix follows them. Chapter 5. I'm sorry about Hong Kong, says Passepartout. I don't usually drink much, but later Passepartout sees Fix on the ship. My master isn't a gentleman thief, he says. Listen, says Fix. I now have papers from London to arrest Mr. Fogg, but I can stop him now. I must be in England when we get there. They arrive in San Francisco in the morning. The New York train leaves that evening. Fogg and Mrs. Auda meet Fix in the street. I am traveling to Europe now. Can we travel together? He asks. Of course, answers Fogg. They walk into a meeting. Camerfield for judge, shout the people on the left. Mandy Boy for judge, shout the people on the right. Then they start fighting. One man wants to fight Fogg, but Fix stands in front of him and stops him. Passepartout finds it all very strange. So Mr. Fox is helping us now, he thinks. Fogg, Miss Auda, Passepartout, and Fix get on the train that evening. They cross an old bridge very fast, and it falls into the river behind them. Then some Sioux Indians arrive. They get some passengers. Passepartout fights them, but they take him and ride away with him. Fogg, Mrs. Auda, and Fix get off the train. Fogg goes to look for Passepartout. He finds him and brings him back, but they must wait until evening, until the next train to New York. How can we travel fast over the snow, thinks Fix. On a sledge with sail. Soon they arrive in Omaha. There they take a train to New York. They arrive in New York 45 minutes late. Their ship, the China, is on its way to Liverpool. Chapter 6. The next morning, Fogg, Mrs. Auda, Passepartout, and Fix leave on a small ship, the Henrietta, going to France. Later, Fogg Fogg gives the sailors money and they agree to go to Liverpool, not to France. The sailors lock the captain in his room, the Henrietta in the middle of the Atlantic, and there's no coal, but all the wood on the ship, says Fogg. The ship arrives in Queenstown in the south of Ireland, and there's no more wood on it. Let's get off here, says Fogg to Mrs. Soda, Passepartout, and Fix. Fix doesn't arrest Fogg in Queenstown. He's waiting for them to arrive in England. They get on a train and travel to Dublin. There they get a fast ship to Liverpool. In Liverpool, Fix arrests Fogg at last and takes him to prison. In prison, Fogg looks at his diary at 2 o'clock. He looks at his watch. There's time to go to London on a fast train and to be at my club by 8:45 this evening, he thinks. At 3:30, Fix arrives with Miss Zora and Passepartout. I'm sorry, Mr. Fogg, says Fix. The gentleman thief, James Strand, is in prison. You're free to go. Angrily, Fogg punches Fix in the face. Then Fogg, Mrs. Zora, and Passepartout run to Liverpool station. They get a fast train to London. The train arrives at 10 minutes to 9. Fogg is 5 minutes late for his meeting with Stewart. Fogg doesn't want to get to his club late, so he goes home with Miss Soda and Passepartout. Around the world in 80 days and 5 minutes. He's the loser. He has only £20,000 in the bank, and he must give it all to Stewart. I'm sorry for bringing you here to a poor man's home, he says to Mrs. Soda the next morning. Will you marry me? Asks Mrs. Soda. Yes, says. Then afternoon, Fogg tells Passepartout, I want to marry Mrs. Soda tomorrow, the 23rd of December. Can you speak to the people at the Marylebone Church about it? Soon Passepartout returns, stays the 23rd of December. When you travel east around the world, you get an extra day. You aren't late for your meeting at the club after all. But you must run. At 9:15, Fogg enters his club. I win, he says to Stewart. Where's my £20,000? Next Monday, Fogg, the traveler, marries Mrs. Soda. He's a very happy man. The end.